You're watching Music Talk Now, the Permian Basin's good news music talk show. We're your host. I'm Jennifer Mahan.
And I'm Gary Garner. And today we're going to talk about what the West Texas Music Association really is.
Yes.
And we've got a special guest with Loops, which is Loved Ones of Prisoners. We'll find out all about that.
Yes, and we're going to continue our series on marketing, how to promote you and your product. And don't forget, Songwriter's Corner with Dean T. Garden. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Tomahawk Hair Genesis. We offer an outstanding selection of services to men and women. Whether it be a haircut, perms, or color and cut, we will help you look your best. We are conveniently located in West Odessa. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday by special appointment. Tomahawk Hair Genesis, 11368 West 20th Street in Odessa. Give us a call at 432-352-1812. That's 432-352-1812. Let Tamara help you look your best. Would you like to be a part of our group here at the WTMA? Well, we're looking for energetic people with a few hours per month to help build our organization. We are a fun, upbeat group that strives to help our local community and have a positive impact on musicians, performers, and singers. If you would like more information, you can get in touch with us at WTMA at WTMAassociation.org or by calling Bruce Beard at 432-238-5087. Come join us.
Welcome back. We've got an opportunity to interview Mr. Leland Maples, who's with Loops. Now, Loops stands for Loved Ones of Prisoners. And Leland is here locally. And I've known him and been acquainted with him for about 30 years plus. And that's all I'm going to say about that part of it. But
some might say, apologize for that, Gary.
That's not holding him to anything there, but we want to talk about Loops.
That's right.
And
I'm just now finding out what Loops is. And so it's just been extraordinary hearing some of your stories. So tell our viewers, what does Loops do? And how did you start?
Okay. Loops stands for Loved Ones of Prisoners. Back in 1985,
okay,
some friends of mine really put the pressure on me to go do a Bible class at the Big Spring Federal Prison.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, that was the only prison west of Fort Worth in the state of Texas. Also at that time, I didn't want to go. That wasn't...
the
thought of volunteering to go to prison did not thrill me.
Very appealing.
Make a long story short, to make things simple, it meant either hurting some friends' feelings or go ahead and do it, and I did it. Little did I know that it was going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because it was during that time. I did that for 6 years. Mm-hmm. Every Friday night, I went over and did a Bible class to Big Spring Federal Prison. These were white-collar criminals.
Okay.
There wasn't a fence around Big Spring. They had over 700 men, no fence. They could wear their own clothes. They had all been very successful. They were in there for, it was white-collar crime, money laundering type thing. And so I made some very good friends. I learned a lot of things. They taught me for almost 6 years. But it was during that time that the prison business boomed in the nation. Mm. Today we have 40 prisons west of Fort Worth in the state of Texas, and they all have razor wire fences around them.
Yes.
And the purpose for all of this explosiveness of building prisons was because of drug trafficking. Mm-hmm. And the criminal justice system operates on what we call behavior modification. They're going to make you behave. So
and it doesn't work.
It never has. But they were going to, well, as I told you earlier, one of the first guys that ever showed up in my class was the largest drug bust in the history of Seattle, Washington. And Seattle is not a small city.
Right.
they sent him down here to get him away from all of his Northwest connections. They took him down with between 20 and 40 million dollars worth of powder cocaine.
Wow.
The difference between the 20 and the 40, depending on whether you read the morning Seattle paper or the afternoon Seattle paper. But what was amazing about it, back at that time, before they started this big pressure, he only got 5 years. Today, he'd get 55 years.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, we saw all of these things begin to change, and they begin to build prisons everywhere. And so we happened to be at the right place at the right time.
For your program.
Well, yeah, we didn't have a program back then. I just going over teaching the Bible every Friday night. But what happened, I got married during that time. And my wife wanted to, I would come in every Friday night and I would be pumped up.
Right, yeah.
And she said, "Can I go with you?" And when she started going, our program kind of changed because all of the guys came to her to talk to them about their wives. One guy would not talk to another guy about his wife, but he would talk to a woman. So we actually, the last 2/3 of that 6 years, the last 4 years, maybe 5 even, we went back on Saturday afternoon and did a program with the wives and the mothers, the female.
While they were there visiting.
Yes,
is that correct?
yeah. They would come in and visit. They'd come in on Friday night. They'd visit all day Saturday, all day Sunday, go back, skip the next weekend, and then come back. They got 4 visits a month.
Right.
And so they all had problems. Most of them, because their husbands had been very successful, they didn't know what was under the hood of a car.
Right.
You know, this was something that they were
learning
not into. And all
take
of a
care
sudden,
of everything on their own.
And the kids are hurting. And
see, that was one of the things that I realized, what so many people don't understand, and that what they do doesn't just affect them.
That's right.
But it affects everybody.
That's right.
It's, you know,
including the taxpayers.
Yes, it's the paint bucket effect. You know, my husband and I are youth pastors, and so we use this as an analogy as well. You know, if you take a bucket of paint in the middle of a crowded room and you drop that, you're going to spill paint on everybody. It's not just you that's affected.
There is no victimless crime.
Right.
Right.
Somebody is hurt, like you mentioned, all the way down to the taxpayer. Somebody pays for that.
Right.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
That's right.
So then Loops is coming in here and it's helping to take care of the families of those that are in prison. And what exact services do you do?
Well, we did that. Okay, like I say, they're there 2 days. We did things like I went over to Big Spring and contacted a Christian guy that can work on cars.
Okay.
A Christian guy that works at a pharmacy. The kids get sick. They get toothaches. They get, you know, just get us back home. Get the water pump on the car so we can get back home. These are the things. We even worked with people to get them to share a room or rent a room to some of these wives. They're a single wife, or maybe they got one child, and motel bills are high.
Physical things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, Christianity's got to go further.
Spiritual things on the side.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden, and in fact, I got a call here. I was working, had a job, and I got a call at my office. And they said they're having a big meeting down in Belton, Texas, about the criminal justice system, about the growing boom in prisons in the state of Texas. And said the head of the chaplaincy program is going to be there, some chaplains from the prison is going to be there, different ministries are going to be there, and said, "Would you like to go?" And they said, "We don't have anybody else interested in it." And said, "Didn't know if you knew about it or not," and I didn't. And so I took off on a Friday and went down on a Friday and a Saturday. But of all the things that they had in prison, type of ministries, they didn't have anybody working with families.
Right.
And so we just fit that notch. Like I say, we were in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
And then we started setting up support groups in different towns. We started one here in Midland, Odessa. Now, Midland, Odessa, neither one does not have a prison. But it's got a bunch of families that's got prisoners.
Right.
See, every town has got some of that. You may not have a prison, but you got some folks in your town hurting from that. And then they begin to tell us that one out of every, you mentioned church and you pastor, they said that one out of every 5 people in the pew are affected by the criminal justice system.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what Loops needs and how can people get involved and help your organization?
Well, most of what we need is prayer. Let me tell you basically what we do now, because as I shared with you a little earlier, in the midst of our going from Delhart, where there's a prison, all the way down to Ramsey 2, which is southwest Houston, we've been in prisons on the west side of the state. We didn't get on the east side, but on the west side of the state. And we would go in on the weekend, Friday night, all day Saturday, and we could have been gone every weekend if we'd had the energy to go. But we went about every other weekend. And then 13 years ago, my old past life caught up with me, and they gave me a year to live with aggressive lung cancer. God outsmarted them on that deal, and so anyway, I didn't, but it took me off the road. I had an operation, and I was in recouping, and what happened, there's a term that we talked about, recidivism. I learned that when I first went into prison. I didn't have a clue what it meant, and I had to go look it up. But it means what relapse means in the drug and alcohol field. Recidivism means in the criminal justice field. They get out, they go back. They get out, they go back. They get out, they go back. And this used to drive me up a wall, because I've eaten at all those places, and they're not that good. And why would you go back? And if you talk to the individual, no, he's never going back. He's through with it, and you look up, he's back in prison. And so in talking to prisoners and people that's been out for a long time, like I say, 30 years of this, you got a little history of seeing people go different places. And so we started a program here in Odessa that we call the Rec Room. It had nothing to do with recreation. It stands for Re-Entry Chapel. We found that where inmates frequented chapel in the prison, their recidivism rate, their batting average of staying out of trouble was much better than if they didn't take advantage of the prison.
So spirituality had a great deal to do with it.
Had a great deal to do with it. And now, it didn't guarantee anything, because there's folks that don't give it their best shot, and there are folks that are not sincere. And the bad thing about those prisoners, they're just like free world people. They're as fickle as they can be. But in this process, we started this program with some music, refreshments, and a speaker, capitalizing on Jesus Christ.
Because that is what changes them.
Let me tell you,
Okay.
it's
Now-
not religion. Everybody's got some kind of religion.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ and that Bible will do wonders.
Yes.
It's got the answer to every question you could come up with.
That's
Yes,
right.
it does.
That's
Leland,
exact-
we appreciate you being with us today. We're going to have to take a break. If you want to get involved with Loops, get in touch with them at 432-580-5667. That is 432-580-LOOP. And we hope that you'll do that. Make a difference in the lives of people in prison and people whose families, they need help too. So thank you so much.
Thanks,
My
Leland.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Come walk with us and celebrate being different. The Autism Share Walk is a family-friendly event bringing our community together in support of our children with special needs. Join us Saturday, April 25th at Grande Communication Stadium. Opening ceremonies begin at 9 a.m. and the walk steps off at 10 a.m. All proceeds stay local, benefiting Share and the families we serve. Visit sharewtx.org to register a walk team, join an existing team, or make a donation. Share is a local nonprofit providing support to families who have children with special needs.
Looking for some fun? Go Diamonds. Diamond Lanes at 2208 East 8th Street. Family fun abounds, and ask about our league play. You've never bowled? Well, come on out and we'll show you how much fun you can have. Diamond Lanes, 2208 East 8th, or call us at 580-4386. That's Diamond Lanes.
Well, welcome back. You know, Gary and I have been talking that we always mention the WTMA, or the West Texas Music Association, but not everybody really knows what we do or what our goal is.
Well, each and every week I learn a little bit more about it, and I'm still learning about it. You know, what it is, what do we do, what's the purpose. You know, we've been doing a weekly show. I got involved in it since last November, and I thought it might be of interest, or we thought it might be of interest, and would be beneficial if people knew what it was we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
You know, our goal is to provide to people of all ages in and around our community who are or might be interested in the music industry and who want to learn about the industry, and give them an opportunity to experience all aspects of the music world, from the legal to the writing of songs, and all the way to performing songs. You know, our mission is to promote pride, self-esteem, and confidence in the people we work with and for by educating them in the music business. And I guess that includes me about being educated about it.
Well, you know, I wish that I would have had this type of tool and training before I went to Nashville whenever I was, 16 years old. Started going. And
That
so
was
if
just
I'd
what,
had
last
that,
year?
Yeah, that's right. So, yes, that's what we're trying to do, just help people that want to get started.
That's it. And you know, the West Texas Music Association has also teamed up with our local United Way. We're currently interviewing people who are associated with the 22 different groups that are financed by the United Way. We also interview individuals who are associated with organizations within our community whose sole desire is to help those who are in need of their particular type of service. For example, Hope House.
Yes, and we've done interviews with them and hospice and many others here.
And we do this on the Music Talk Now as part of our show.
Yes. Now, the WTMA is also currently writing songs and making videos for the many different organizations that do help our citizens. So when we ask for someone to sponsor a video, what we're really asking for is someone to show the community that they really care and they want to support the community and the United Way organizations, as well as the other organizations that help our citizens.
Yeah, because their name, the sponsor's name, will be on the video part of that, and it stays on it.
Yes, and it helps everyone
It
involved.
helps everybody. The West Texas Music Association, or WTMA, is a nonprofit organization.
Fiscally sponsored by Fractured Atlas. And we're located at 2610 Kermit Highway here in Odessa, Texas.
The phone number, 432-238-5087. Email address is WTMA at, now that at is that little A with a circle around it, WTMA at I'll get it messed up.
I usually am the one that messes this up.
WTMA at WTMAassociation.org. The director is Bruce Beard.
Yay, Bruce.
And we're currently seeking sponsors for our second Nashville or bus trip.
Yes, we need help getting there.
Yes.
We're going to be taking a few people with us in June or July, depending on how fast we get those sponsorships. So if you have written some songs, you'd like a chance to get them recorded in a major Nashville recording studio like I need to do, then get involved. What an opportunity for someone to receive that type of exposure for new talent, or someone who just wants some recognition.
Yeah, if you'd like to help us reach our goal, you can call Bruce at the phone number, 432-238-5087. You know, everything that we are involved in, is simply our way of giving back to our community.
That's right. Because we're really, community is everything. It really is.
Yes.
And speaking of that, we want to go ahead and publicize a benefit that is coming up. Little baby was born, Colt McLean Kreger, and he was born with a few little problems, had to have some surgery. Was born with his hernia, it was outside of his little belly, and so he had to get that fixed and a few other things. So he ended up being in, intensive NICU, I guess they call it, for quite a while. And his parents are just the most wonderful people, Swenson and Angie Kreger. And the thing about them is they have multiple times helped the community. People in their very situation, they have sponsored benefits for and helped out.
Yeah.
And now they have found themselves in this situation because they did not have insurance. And so, they're looking at, $125,000 to cover these expenses. And so Get Salty, which basically stands on, means cowboy up and be the salt and light of the earth. There in Matthew 5 talks about that. Get Salty Productions and the Western Clothing Line is sponsoring a benefit team roping for them March the 28th and the 29th. It's a 2-day event for little baby Colt, and that will be held at the Odessa Outback. So be looking for more information on that. You can get in touch with Get Salty on Facebook. Just look up Get Salty, and they will have that information there for you. So help baby McLean. It's a wonderful family, and they need your help.
Yeah, and we're fixing to take a break, but and what we're going to go to is one of the videos that were written and a song that was written specifically for Share.
Yes.
And Share is Sharing Hands, a respite
experience.
Yes.
Yes.
They help families who have children,
autistic children
that have some problems.
And it's anybody that has autistic children, they're precious, but they can wear you out. Really, it said the only time that the parents rest is when they're asleep. And so what Share does is they help the families and they give you a break. They have trained people that are there to care for the autistic children, and they let these kids.
This video
parents go out.
Is sponsored by the Cheney Corporation.
Okay, very good.
All right, so stay tuned and watch that.
What does Share mean to you?
Share means I can take a bath alone. Share means I can go shopping without a kid screaming. Share means my oldest daughter gets to have some mommy time. And share means that I actually get to be a human being instead of a raving maniac.
People who are, her, just like her peers. Her peers, her social, she has a social life, she has everything here, and she's accepted, and all the other kids are like her, and she doesn't stand out. She doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. She just blends in like everybody else, and she likes that because at her age she's self-conscious about. She notices that she's different, and so that makes her nervous. Makes her want to hide,
And she doesn't have to hide her.
She doesn't have to hide anymore.
And we don't have to hide her or protect her. Share to me means meeting some of the most beautiful people in the world and becoming family with them. For my daughter, since she put on the t-shirt this morning, it was like, play, play, play. And then when we rounded the corner to the church, she was just jumping for joy because she was going to be here and share and loving and be loved and accepted for who she is. And we're accepted for times we melt down and creating a family this beautiful family of friends that we desperately needed, and time for my husband and I were going to go out and eat, and we're not going to have to chase a child in the restaurant or pick a restaurant that's child friendly. And we have a 16-year-old, and it means spending time with him, listening to him without the interruption of the other child. So meant everything to our family, and has expanded our family, or family as we call it, a shared family of friends that we feel like our family.
And that's what share means to me. And share is a time that allows me to have time for myself. My son is a sibling to a special needs kid, time to himself, as well as I've met a lot of other great parents, a lot of resources through that, through Share. Tom and Melissa and Elisa have been absolutely wonderful, taking care of us and helping any way that they ever possibly could. The sib camps in the summer for the siblings one of the main reasons I come is not necessarily for my child with special needs, but for the one that doesn't have it.
When you look at me, who do you see? Do you see how unique God made me? When you walk by me, what do you think? Do you know what makes me so distinct? When you hear me, do you understand? Do you know me and who I am? I am active and adventurous, authentic and bold. I am capable and caring with a heart of gold. I am happy and healthy, original and real. I am proud and precious and filled with zeal. When you look at me, do you see me as broken? Or do you see what may go unspoken? When you think of me, are you filled with pity? Or smile and say, oh, how pretty? When you hear me roar, do you hear me scream? Or my imitation of a lion so supreme? I am awesome and determined, honest and kind. I am curious, dependable, with a beautiful mind. I am lively and loyal, quirky and sharp. I am unique and wonderful, with a great big heart. I
Welcome to Tomahawk Hair Genesis. We offer an outstanding selection of services to men and women. Whether it be a haircut, perms, or color and cut, we will help you look your best. We are conveniently located in West Odessa. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday by special appointment. Tomahawk Hair Genesis, 11368 West 20th Street in Odessa. Give us a call at 432-352-1812. That's 432-352-1812. Let Tamara help you look your best.
United Way is about impacting lives and producing life-changing results. 1 in every 3 people is impacted by the United Way. Thank you for your investing in our community by giving to the United Way of Odessa.
And welcome back. We've been talking about marketing strategies. I'll get it right here eventually. And I'm still learning about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into a little more detail about that, talk about some different types of marketing that are available.
Well, last week we talked about there are several strategies involved in marketing you and your product. And they're very efficient. They're very non-expensive ways that when you're starting out, you can go ahead and start to do these things to get yourself promoted, okay?
Okay.
So last week we talked about the standout strategy and the piggybacking strategy.
Right.
Now today we're going to talk about the agent strategy. Did you know? Okay, most people that start out, they promote themselves, right? I mean, they do their own posters and, just always trying to promote themselves.
Well, the only thing I can think about is the athletes. They have an agent when they get out of college.
Well, that's true. That's true. Actually, psychological and sociological studies have been done that prove that if you have someone representing you, people think more of you.
You seem to be more important.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really, it's superficial, but it's true, and it's part of the business, and so you need to know about it. If you can get someone to represent you, an agent, to work on your behalf, people are going to pay a little more attention to you, and you're going to be more successful, okay?
And that's the agent strategy.
The agent strategy. Another part to that is when you're doing negotiations, an agent can go in there and be tough as nails, and nobody cares, okay?
They're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be. That's their job. But if you as an artist go in there and you're acting that way, then sometimes people you're working with are not going to like you too much.
They're going to tell you where the door is.
Yes, you're going to get a reputation that's not very favorable. So you want for an agent or a representative to do that for you, okay?
Okay.
So
that's
one strategy that you can use.
All right.
Now, another one is called the multitasking strategy.
Yeah, what is this multitasking type thing here? What?
You get 3 balls and...
and walk and chew gum. All right.
No, the multitasking strategy is ways to get involved in different projects, okay, to promote you, but that all come back around to promoting your product. For instance, the WTMA does this a lot, okay? We get involved with the United Way. We do all kinds of different things that promote the WTMA. And of course, we want to help people. That's part of how we're driven. But in doing the videos for the nonprofits, right, okay, that helps them. But the WTMA is also our labels on that, right? So they were done by us.
Yeah.
So that helps to promote the WTMA.
Right.
Also, the WTMA, we need funding for the things that we do. So we branch out. We have a printing. We can do printing. We can press T-shirts. There's all kinds of different multitasking things, project-wise, that the WTMA can do. And
I didn't even know about all that.
Yes, absolutely.
I do know, though, that we're involved right now in trying to update and upgrade the Rio Theater, which is downtown Odessa.
Absolutely. That's a whole other project. See?
That's a big project that would give us more rooms, more area to expand.
Yes, and the city wants to come in and have a convention center downtown, and the WTMA is a part of that through the Rio Theater. Hopefully, we can get that going, and it'd be beneficial for everybody coming into the downtown area.
So that's multitasking.
Yes, because it's going to have offices for songwriting. It's going to have offices in there for teaching things about the music industry. It's going to have a recording studio. It's going to have a stage to perform on, rooms that people can go in and collaborate songwriting, and a restaurant. So if that's not multitasking, I don't know what isn't.
Covers everything. You know,
Absolutely.
it'd be just like the music industry trying to put an ad in an oil industry business book. You know, that's not going to work. It's
Right.
different. It's a different part. Okay, so that would be just a waste of money because
Right.
you need to deal with the particular industry that you're involved in.
Yes.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense.
don't just limit yourself to promoting one thing. Branch out in other projects and get yourself known. Work with other organizations and be able to promote your product through that as well. That's multitasking, okay?
Okay.
And one more is the long haul strategy.
Okay, now that, you know, a lot of people just look at what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to take an educated guess, which is something for me to do. The long haul strategy would be looking not at just tomorrow, but where I would like to be 365 tomorrows
Right.
down the road.
Well, you know, the business model of record labels so many times has really just promoted a one-hit wonder for so many different artists. And that's not good for the musician. It's good for the record company because they're making money. Now, the artists make a little bit of money, but then what? Okay?
Yeah.
So you need to think about, are you in this for the long haul? And if you are, of course you should be, you know, want to be.
That's where you look at where am I going to be at next
Yes.
month, 6 months.
So you want to think of ways to. Okay, you've created an album. Now, get past just the mentality of I'm going to sell my album and hope that it does well. You want to think of different ways to make perpetual income off of one product. And I'm going to read you a little story.
Yeah, you had an example on that, I believe.
I do, and it's a fabulous one. Get you thinking. Okay, in 2001, Brad Turcotte, he released his first album, but he did it online as a downloadable set of MP3s. Okay? Not everybody likes to get their music the same way. Gary and I were talking. We're CD buyers.
Yeah.
Some people don't do that. They want to download the songs one at a time. So this guy's really smart. So then he does this, and then the money that he generates from that lets him go and do a run of CDs. So then he can get some CDs pressed up and do a whole big deal of that. So now he's got two fan bases. He's got one
Yeah, somebody downloads a song they like,
fan base that likes
so now they're going to
downloadables.
buy the CD. Okay.
And now he's selling his CDs, okay, using that profit from the MP3s. Now he's got a new fan base that are buying the CDs, but he doesn't stop there. Later, he releases the tracks to his music, okay?
Soundtracks.
Yeah, and people like to go in and do remixes and things like that. So then he gets a whole new fan base there, and then he takes he takes the best remixes into another CD, and he gets a whole new surge of fans who loved the remixes and the original material. See, I mean, he just keeps perpetuating this one project into all these different areas of income and grows fan bases in each one that he does.
Yeah.
And so then by the time he cuts his second album, it does well in its own right, but it's also generated interest in his previous albums. So that is what long haul thinking does. Get past just this, you know, I'm going to go do my shows and sell my t-shirts and my CDs. No, think about different ways that you can have a different income stream coming in all the time from different avenues. So that's just part of that.
Because you're not going to become a multimillionaire overnight.
Well, no.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work
Takes
that
hard
way.
work.
All right. Well, next week we'll talk a little bit more about some more marketing strategies for you and your product. Stay with us. Yeah.
And we've got a few announcements that we want to bring before the audience here. You know, on March 20th, the Hope House is having the Great Gatsby. It'll be at the Hacienda, which is located on 191, just west of 1788. If you need to contact them, you call them at 432-614-9284.
Okay.
That's their one of their ways of gathering funds. And on March 28th at the Milson House, the Best of Both Worlds. It's for CASA.
Yes.
That's court-appointed
Special advocates.
Special advocates for children.
Yes.
Right, all right. And for information on that, you call it 432-498-4174. The Harmony Home on April the 10th at the Ashbury Methodist Church. They're having a conference, Champions for Children. And they will be providing a daycare center for the children, for those that have young children.
Very good.
And on May 8th, on Farm to Market 1379 in Midland, at Jake's Clays, they're going to have a clay shoot. For those of you who have got shotguns and like to shoot clays, go out there and practice up on that, all right? And you can call them at 432-333-5233, okay?
Right.
And last but not least, my favorite, of course, Meals on Wheels. This is April 15th, starting at 5:30 p.m. The Mud Bug. Now that's mud bugs, shrimp, and catfish.
Hey,
that's going to be held in Barn G at the Ector County Coliseum. You know, which would be fun. I plan on going there. So,
okay.
You know, and before we close out and all that.
He is just anchoring me here.
Yes, I am. I've got some trivia. We've got to have some trivia. And in the early 1964s, the Beatles appeared on what television?
In the early 1960s.
Yes, I know. You wasn't even here. The Beatles appeared on what television show?
I know that, Ed Sullivan.
You got that one. You know why you knew that?
Because I know that, because I've seen it.
All right, so you've seen it, see?
Yes.
I watched it, the original.
That's one of those little outtakes that you see in history stuff all the time.
I watched the original.
Did you?
All right, Satchmo, the great jazz trumpet player. You remember what his real name is?
Negative.
Louis Armstrong.
Aww.
Louis Armstrong.
Okay.
Satchmo.
Louis Armstrong?
Yes, that's it. Well. And back in 1971, Don McLean sang a song called The Day Music Died.
Yes.
It was a tribute to who?
Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly. Do you remember when he was killed in what year? 1959. Yeah, in a plane crash.
Yes.
Okay. That's our trivia.
All right. Well, you have some trivia to me.
I had some fun with that.
I teach him a little. He tries to teach me a little.
No, I don't teach her. She's my mentor. But I'm learning every week.
All right. Well, stay with us.
Would you like to be a part of our group here at the WTMA? Well, we're looking for energetic people with a few hours per month to help build our organization. We are a fun, upbeat group that strives to help our local community and have a positive impact on musicians, performers, and singers. If you would like more information, you can get in touch with us at WTMA at WTMAassociation.org or by calling Bruce Beard at 432-238-5087. Come join us. Welcome to Tomahawk Hair Genesis. We offer an outstanding selection of services to men and women. Whether it be a haircut, perms, or color and cut, we will help you look your best. We are conveniently located in West Odessa. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday by special appointment. Tomahawk Hair Genesis, 11368 West 20th Street in Odessa. Give us a call at 432-352-1812. That's 432-352-1812. Let Tamara help you look your best.
Welcome back. Tonight we're going to talk about hooks, but first let me just touch on a couple of things. One is I'm writing on this song, and I thought I'd bring it over so you can see it. And if I could have this camera right here, I'll begin. Okay, here's like the first rough draft, and I have my chords and stuff written on there, and then I begin working from there. Okay, and as I work, I write just more and more, like more and more the same stuff. And then that's not working, so I start doing this. That's still not working. More of the same right there. Here's some more stuff right here that didn't work. Here's some stuff that works right here, a couple of pages of that. You can have that. And so that's what happens. That's how songwriting works. And it's just editing and re-editing and reworking until you're just aggravated yourself to death. But it's a lot of fun, you know. And so we keep doing it because we can't do any other thing. We just can't stop. And so finally, at the end of the day, you've aggravated yourself real bad and you put it down and you've pretty well got a draft of what's going to happen. And then you come back in a few days, you know, and you sit down with it again and you try to get a fresh perspective. And when you do that, that's when the editing process begins and you begin to see where your problems were, where you got in and out of tense and where the storyline didn't make sense. Because in your mind, it makes sense because you know what you're saying. But to someone listening in their radio, you know, on the way to work or something, they don't know what you're talking about. And so you begin to realize that as you reread it again and again over, you know, a brief period of time, maybe a couple of weeks. Sometimes it's months, and you'll put something down and come back and you'll find out why it wouldn't work. Okay, and then somebody wrote about intros, and so it made me think of this, a song by the Beatles called "Listen." I told you last week to listen to 3 or 4 Beatles songs off Rubber Soul, and I hope you did. I don't think "Listen" was on that list on Rubber Soul, but I can't remember. But anyway, an intro is something that has come down, you know, through the early 20th century to us, and they do just exactly what they say. They intro the song. Sometimes it's a musical intro. A lot of times it's lyrical. In the case of "Listen," it's a lyrical, and it's usually not in the same format as the song itself. Sometimes there will be a key change, what we call a modulation. And so if you'll go pull up "Listen" by the Beatles and listen to the song, listen to how they put it together. It's a very clever little song, and the intro introduces the word "listen" very well. And so I think you'll enjoy, just from a songwriter's viewpoint, of the cleverness of what they did. It was their ambition to always be write plays like Rodgers and Hammerstein or Rodgers and Hart and those guys. That's what they wanted to do, and they wound up being, you know, some of the best songwriters that have ever lived. But rock and roll guys, and that's how it works out for us sometimes. So let's talk about hooks. A hook is exactly what it says it is. It's a hook. It's something that grabs a person's attention. Sometimes it's a riff. Sometimes it's words. But they have to be memorable, so that when it's the thing about the song that you remember. And so when you hear that again, you'll remember that that's the song you like. Or someone told me one time that it's the part of the song that you sing in the shower. You know, you'll forget all the other songs, but you'll remember that one little line, and that's your hook line. That's what grabs you. Usually it's in a chorus if it's sung. And there's 2 or 3 different kinds of hooks. One, there's a production hook. And an example of a production hook, and you can go look these songs up and listen to them, is one called "Pontoon" by Lady Antebellum. Another would be the Doobie Brothers, "Listen to the Music," because the riffs are so readily identifiable in them that you'll immediately pick it up that's "Listen to the Music." The riff is just that identified. Okay, and then the next kind is structural hooks, and that's your chorus. And a chorus that I've heard recently that I like, that I thought might be a good example, because it's very simple. It doesn't have to be real complicated. It can be very simple. And this song was off of Firewater by Whiskey Myers, and it's called "Anna Marie." It was Texas Billboard #1 song for a good long while, a couple of years ago. And it's real simple. And they say, "Woo-hoo, hey, Anna Marie." Woo-hoo, hey, that's Anna Marie. Woo-hoo, hey, Anna Marie. Very simple. The name of the song, guess what it is? Anna Marie. You're right. And so it can be something that simple, or it can be something as difficult as drastic in your mind as A Long, Long Time, that was written by Gary White several years ago and made famous by Linda Ronstadt. And at that time, she had Glenn Frey and Don Henley was playing in her band at the time before they started the Eagles. And it says, go listen to it, because she changes it a couple of times as she goes through it. That's the way Gary wrote it. And the chorus actually changes to fit the lines, but it's real identifiable when you hear it. And it says, I've done everything I know to try and make you mine. I think I'm going to love you for a long, long time. There it is, long, long time. You'll want to end, if you can, either begin or end your chorus with the line itself, okay? And then another song that I really like is a song by a guy named Jim Weatherly, who wrote just about all of the Gladys Knight and the Pips' 3 big hits. He wrote all 3 of them. Midnight Train to Georgia, a great study in how songs should be put together and how that hook works and how he puts that hook in you and pulls you back into the song. You know, it really is nice. And so then the other kind is a storyline. A storyline hook is the story itself. And a good example of a storyline hook would be Goodbye Earl by the Dixie Chicks. You could go listen to that. And I can't really tell you how to write a hook. If anybody could tell you how to write a hook, you'd be the greatest songwriter in the world. It's just a thing that you kind of learn, and you have to kind of have a feel for it. Being a songwriter, some of it's learned, a lot of it's really hard work, but a lot of it is also just talent. You know, you have to have a talent for it. And and another good storyline hook is In My Life by the Beatles. It's very, very famous song by the Beatles. It was re-recorded by Bette Midler and Where Are the Boys, and it's just a beautiful song. But in a storyline hook, the story itself is the hook. And so it makes it a little bit harder to write it. It's a lot easier to just come up with one little catchy line, you know, and build your song around that. The thing about a hook is you want that hook to come out in the first minute or minute and a half of a song. If you wait it's clever to wait till the end of the song, you know, and explode this hook on them and put this twist on them. But the big trick is to keep the radio on for a minute and a half or a minute to get to the hook. You know, that's the thing that you have to do, because that's what pays the bills. And that's what people will throw money at. And over the centuries, we've learned as songwriters what people will buy, what they'll throw money at, and what they won't. And so you have to fashion your songs to fit what will sell. And if you're just writing for your own enjoyment, you know, and for your own therapy, then you don't really have to worry about any of those things. But if you're trying to craft songs, well-crafted, well-built songs are always the same. You know, if you're going to sit there and play this song for your mom, you know, and you know, she's going to love your song. And it doesn't really matter how good or bad it is. And if it makes you happy and it makes her happy to sing it and play it and all that, well, and you're smart because you wrote it, well, that's a good deal. But if you're trying to really write a well-crafted song, and it's not that much more work, these are the things you have to learn. Good intro lines, like we talked about last week, that pull people into the song, like Margaritaville did, you know, and then good hooks that keep people coming back for more. And that's what you need. Next week, we're going to talk about a little bit more about music theory and chords and how chords are put together and how you draw them out of scales and stuff. So be sure and stay tuned next week, and we'll be back. Thank you very much for listening.
Come walk with us and celebrate being different. The Autism Share Walk is a family-friendly event bringing our community together in support of our children with special needs. Join us Saturday, April 25th at Grande Communication Stadium. Opening ceremonies begin at 9 a.m. and the walk steps off at 10 a.m. All proceeds stay local, benefiting Share and the families we serve. Visit sharewtx.org to register a walk team, join an existing team, or make a donation. Share is a local nonprofit providing support to families who have children with special needs.
Welcome to Tomahawk Hair Genesis. We offer an outstanding selection of services to men and women. Whether it be a haircut, perms, or color and cut, we will help you look your best. We are conveniently located in West Odessa. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday by special appointment. Tomahawk Hair Genesis, 11368 West 20th Street in Odessa. Give us a call at 432-352-1812. That's 432-352-1812. Let Tamara help you look your best.
We appreciate you joining us today. Man, we've had a good time on the show.
We've learned a lot, and I hope you have too.
I want to give a special thanks to our guest from Loops, which is your friend.
Yes, Mr. Leland Maples. Super nice guy.
Yes.
And Cindy White.
Yes, for the photography and for the floral arrangements. We appreciate that, Cindy. And Tamara Hawkins with Tomahawk Hair Genesis. If you need a haircut, a color, anything, she does facials, all of that good foo-foo stuff, which I love. Go see her.
You think a facial would help me?
Probably would.
Yeah, right. And we've got a new one here too. What was his name?
Mike Collins Photography. Yes.
Okay.
Got a picture of his. So again, if you are a photographer and you have your work that you would like displayed here on the Music Talk Now show, just send them to us. Give them our email address, Gary.
It's WTMA@WTMAassociation.org. Okay, and you can send that to us there. You can send us questions. You can ask us questions, whatever.
Yes.
That's how you contact us.
Absolutely. I have to pass that off to him because I always mess it up somehow.
I mess it up just by being here.
And then we have to do a cut and all over again.
And she's my mentor, so whatever I mess up, it's her fault, right? Okay.
All right. Well, we hope that you'll join us again. Remember to be confident, to be courageous, and never forget that with God, all things are possible to those who believe.
And where words fail, music speaks. And if you lack love, you lack life.
That's it. We'll see you next time.